And now it's Deborah Cobelt Live and the Little Italy podcast.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on our Little Italy podcast, and of course, Deborah Cobelt Live. And I'm just so pleased to welcome today my guest, Alessandra Repini. She wrote this magnificent book, The Italian Lady, the perfect guide to making yourself ever cheerful, classy, and admired. Discover the modern day dolce vita and enjoy it wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a magnificent book, and you cover everything: food, fashion, furniture, and everything in between. I know you like to call it the 3 Fs. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Deborah. Good morning, everyone. And thank you for having me at your podcast. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to transmit the love I have for my country. And I dedicate this postcard, and the book I wrote is dedicated to all Italy lovers, because I discovered that there are so many Italy lovers in the world. And so that's why I wanted to write a book just for them, to tell them exactly what it is living in Italy or living like an Italian. So,
Yeah.
for example, when I was traveling abroad, or when I met a foreigner and I say, I'm Italian, the reaction is, oh, beautiful, you're Italian. I love Italy. So, Deborah, tell me, why is Italy is so much appreciated? When you say Italy, what comes to your mind first thing?
Well, you know, I'm Italian, and my family is all from Italy, of course. And I just got back from there. I was visiting them. And even as an Italian American, because I'm born here, what always comes to mind first, and I think for most people, the food. The food is magnificent, and I know it's because of the ingredients. I know that they cook, it's very simple, it's very clean, it's beautiful. And no matter where I go in Italy, I'll always get a magnificent dish of pasta. And I come back to the States, even the finest Italian restaurant and even the loveliest markets, I can't seem to replicate the Italian dishes that I have in Italy. So clearly the food and the elegance of the way people dress, even if it's a hot day, they're always just dressed simply, beautifully, and elegant. There's a simplicity to the Italian culture, I think, that I think is attractive to everyone. So there's your answer.
So you attract, food and fashion. The way we dress, we clothes. Okay, food, as a matter of fact, when I ran a little survey of myself, asking the same question to as many people as possible, the answer who mostly came out was food. And for this reason, I wrote 2 and 3 chapters on food in my book, explaining to foreign people, for example, what to order when you come to Italy, or the Mediterranean diet. I discovered, also writing this book, that Italy is one of the country with the healthiest people in the world. They are Italian or Greek, so countries with the Mediterranean diet. So
Yeah.
thanks to what we have in our region, and thanks to what we like to eat, developed in hundreds of years, maybe this is the secret why the Italian food is so much appreciated. I don't know.
Well,
But
I'll tell you what's interesting to me is if I ever wrote a book, I would say there are no fat Italians, because I think there used to be a misconception out there that Italians eat a lot of pasta and they're big. This is not true. Italians are fit, they're trim, they care about what they look like in terms of being healthy. So that's another thing that I think is a misconception about people in Italy. And they are beautiful. We all know that, right? But they are also very fit. And I think that's very important to Italians. You also address that in your book about being healthy and fit.
yes, yes, and well, the pasta thing is something curious, because in a way it is true that we eat pasta every day. Men do, And I give pasta every day to my children. I don't have pasta every day, otherwise it would be very bad for me. So women usually don't have pasta every day. Just when we wanted to treat ourselves, we have pasta. But anyway, pasta is so good, and you give them with the right sauce. It's healthy because it's a tomato sauce, handmade with real fresh tomatoes. Is amazing, and it's healthy anyway. So, and also fish and a lot of vegetables. But what I would like to tell is that it's very easy. It's not very difficult to cook in the Italian way, because as you said, Italian cuisine is simple. So the less you cook, the better it is. And
that's right.
For this reason, if you wanted to host, to give a party or a dinner in your own country in the Italian style, I suggested you the typical dish you may offer to your guests, which are very easy to prepare and very easy the ingredient to be found if you don't make things complicated. And
Right.
then also I wanted to tell you about some false ideas of Italian food. The most famous one, because I read that you like meatballs.
This is true. I love meatballs. Yes.
And so spaghetti with meatballs is not at all Italian.
I know. This is true. Listen, people, this is true. Spaghetti and meatballs is not an Italian thing. Please explain to our audience.
Yeah, spaghetti with meat. We usually don't have meat with pasta, because pasta is the main dish, main course, and it goes on its own. And then we have a second course, which might be meat or fish or eggs or whatever it is. So spaghetti with meatballs is something that comes back from the 2 centuries ago, when the Italians moved to America and they found much more meat available in your country rather than in our poor Italy at that time. And so that's why they use meat everywhere, even in the pasta. But this is something which we don't do. The only place where there is pasta with meatball is in Abruzzo, which is the region South Italy, and they have a spaghetti alla chitarra with very, very small meatballs, but they are small, they're not big. I heard that spaghetti with meatball in America, meatballs are very big. Is it true?
Yeah, way too big. You have to eat half or a quarter of the meatball or share it, and it's just, but America, sometimes the portions are too big. And in Italy, they're more refined, which I find to be very nice. This is what you should eat, and this is what you will get. And it's a more refined way, I believe, of eating. And then you come home and everything's big and a little too much on it, right? You've got the sauce, and then they put the cheese and a big meatball, and it's like, oh my goodness, take me back. So
and then also there are some other food which are very popular in America and don't exist in Italy. For example, fettuccine alfredo.
Yeah,
we don't have any clue of what they are, but they are very popular in America. And some Italian touristic restaurants, they have a fettuccine alfredo just for tourists in the menu, but they don't exist. And also the pepperoni pizza. Pepperoni pizza, you know that pepperoni means peppers, not pepperoni, not salami. And what you call pepperoni pizza for us is pizza alla diavola with spicy salami.
Well, is it important when we go to Italy to eat the way that people eat there according to each region, right? Because there's so much fish, particularly in the south of Italy. So, when we go there, it's nice to immerse ourselves and eat as an Italian would eat in that area, correct?
Exactly. And not only depending on the region where you are, but also depending on the season.
Yes.
So we have the Alps and the Dolomites. And of course, if you find yourself there, you will order polenta, canederli, cotoletta alla valdostana, food which is typical from the mountains. While if you go to Tuscany or to Rome, which is a place near the sea, you have much more seafood, of course, and typical seafood, typical dishes of the region. In the book, I wrote some cliff notes. I know that in America they are called cliff notes.
Yes.
They are study guides. So the same way that when as students study for the exam, I made everything condensed. So I made a study guide on the typical food for every region of Italy. So if you find yourself near Naples, you know what to order. If you find yourself in Milano, you know what other food you can order to get the typical and most genuine food. And I hope it is helpful. So, because one thing that I always experience of myself when I go abroad, I find myself in a restaurant and say, okay, what do I order now? And then I go on the travel guide asking, but the travel guides often give you very general information.
Yes.
And what I wanted to give with my book is my personal Italian perspective of what Italian people order when we go to the restaurant.
Now let's talk about fashion, because you know, Italian women, once again, simplicity always comes to mind with me, right? Whether it's an evening or whether it is during the day, elegant and simple. Can you give us a little advice on, you know, since the book is called The Italian Lady, the personal guide, making yourself cheerful, classy, and admired? How do we do that as women in particular when we go to visit Italy? What is the best way to dress? Once again, sometimes people visiting from my country, sometimes, you know, they'll come with a t-shirt and sneakers and, you know, shorts, and that's fine if they're comfortable. But I think it's nice to make an effort the way that it's done in Italy or the country you're visiting, correct?
Yes, but everything depends on the situation. My very suggestion is no matter, even sneakers and t-shirts may be fine if you are in the proper situation, in the right situation. So what I think that makes the Italian a little bit different from other women in the world, but which is a very bad generalization, because generalizing is always wrong. But
yes, of course.
But sometimes it might be true. So maybe we Italians have a strong sense of appearance. We are obsessed by making a bella figura, give a good impression.
Right.
So what is the good impression? It depends on where you are, because if you appear very elegant and you are in a very simple situation going to school to pick up your children, you're not elegant, even if you have the best elegant dress on you, because it's not appropriate to the situation. So my only advice is think of a situation where you are going. Is it a dinner? Is it a seated dinner? Is it a very elegant restaurant, or is it just a normal restaurant? Which kind of people are you going to meet once you go there? Are they very old or young? Are they very fancy, or they are just understated? So I think that the elegance is adjusting yourself to the situation and to the people you are going to face. This is what it's elegance.
Yes. Wonderful. Tell me a little bit about you. You know, why did you write this book? What were you doing before? I know that you're a mom. You have 2 children. And what inspired you to write this book?
I've been working for more than 20 years as executive in a big multinational company, producing business conference and seminars. But then, as a typical Italian woman, I became mother very late, because this is an issue we have in Italy. We become mother very late. We have few children. Despite our attachment and strong feeling with family, we produce very few children, unfortunately. So I was over 40 when I got my children. And so I said, I've been working for more than 20 years. Now I'm 40, I want to enjoy my children, and I want to be a good mother and dedicate myself to them. And so I did that. But I was not used to stay still. And so I started a new company, and then I also wrote this book because I realized that Italy, as I said before, is very loved abroad. And I noticed that many documentary, for example, many movies, many products talking about Italy in English language were produced by non-Italian people. They were foreign. So I wanted to talk about my country, as I said before, from my Italian point of view, to give the right information, present contemporary information, because sometimes the idea of dolce vita is a little bit ancient. So the dolce vita from the 60s, Sofia Loren or Marcello Mastroianni, which is our strength, but there is also more. So
yes.
And I wanted to talk about the 3F, of course, which is the fashion, food, and furniture, which are the three things for which Italy is most famous. But not only that, because there is art and culture, and then the tourism of the places we have in Italy. Don't forget that Italy has the highest number of UNESCO sites. So it's a nice place to visit, Italy. So I wanted to tell the world about everything of Italy in a very condensed way, so that people can find in my book everything they need to know, without researching on Google, on reading many books. Everything is condensed in these study guides. And for example, let's go back to food. Italian wines. So what are the most famous Italian wines in the world? The sparkling wine that everybody in the world drinks, it's champagne and maybe Prosecco.
Right.
But I wanted to tell the world that Prosecco, there is not only Prosecco, there are other Italian wines which are famous, then can be sometimes even better than Prosecco, but not always. It depends on the labels, of course. So in my in the study guides, you will have the list of all sparkling wine, red wines, white wines with the proper names, with the most famous labels, and so you know what to order when you, or what to buy from your country, to live the same way where we Italy live. Then I wanted to do also this one. The thing that I knew better was myself and women like me. So I wanted to talk about Italy, not as a travel guide, because it might be boring, but I wanted to talk about Italy, describing how is an Italian woman, how she dresses, as we talked about before, how she drinks, how she furnishes her home, how she has fun, how she gets her culture, or the culture. So by describing a woman, I described the way we Italian live. And I hope this is more fun than just a tourist guide.
But it's so different. It varies so much, right? If you live in the city, if you live in town, if you live in the country, and the food will change depending upon where you live as well. Isn't that correct?
It is correct. Now, but food doesn't change a lot, because if you are in the same region, no matter if you are in a big city or in a small village, the food is more or less the same. Okay,
Right.
but the way we live, of course, is different. So Milan is, I think, it's an exception, and it's the benchmark for all the other Italian Italian cities, because they take Milano as a reference of as the most advanced city. But each city has its own character, and they are different, of course. And in each country, we have in each city we have different habits. For example, in Naples, in Palermo, they do eat pasta every day, maybe also twice a day. While in the north cities, it's a little bit more controlled, the situation. It's true. It may change, but not the food, but maybe the habit and maybe the timing, and especially the pace. In Milan, everybody runs, while in South, everybody is more relaxed, which is good and bad at the same time. It depends on what you are doing, of course.
What do you mean by that? You know, they're more relaxed. Why is that? Is it just their lifestyle? Is it the weather? Why would you say?
Well, that's a good question. It's a lifestyle. They don't hurry up very much, and they love to enjoy more. Maybe they put their own, let's say, comfort on the first place, rather than the hurry that we have in the north. Because, but again, this is, as you said, maybe that one becomes depends. Yes, north and south, but also big cities and small town. So in any small towns, I think everywhere in the world, everything is going slower than in a big city. I think it's the same as in New York or in a big village somewhere else.
I want to talk about the essentials for a woman, for example, in fashion. Like, you must have what? A proper purse, shoes, a scarf. I love a scarf. I will put a scarf on my handbag. I'll put it around my neck. I think it's lovely. I've always thought that they can add a pop of color. Is there something that you would say is essential for the woman's wardrobe from Italy?
Well, as you said, the scarf is very important. I do confirm this because it makes you elegant. It gives you a touch of something more rather than being plain, let's say so. Yes, I would say, especially in the cities, a strong bag would be very important. So you have to have a nice bag, not just a bag like that. So this is something which you need to have, because many people look at you through the bag, not only through the clothes. Yes. Again, the point of giving a good impression. Yes. From my personal point of view, my must-have is white trousers, because white trousers make you the day in any situation, because you can put on, during the day you can put on a sweater or just a simple shirt like this, and you're fine if you have black trousers. The same black trousers at night, if you go in an elegant or in a nice restaurant or in a nice party, you put a sequin blouse or something more silk and more elegant, and you are perfect in any way. So from my point of view, black trousers are, especially in winter, not in summer. Summer, we don't wear black in summer usually, but in winter, black trousers always makes the life much easier. So this is my my personal point of view.
Right. Same here, I think. You know, the little black dress is essential. You know, the white trousers are very important. I agree. And I notice, of course, in the summer, the linen, you know, linen is a very important fabric because it's cool. It keeps you cool in the hot temperatures as well, right?
Another thing which is I find myself very comfortable. It's called, I don't know if it's the same way. It's chemisier. It's a dress. It looks
Yeah.
like a shirt, but it's a long dress under the knee, and it always makes you elegant, and not too much elegant, but elegant in any situation.
Right. Appropriate, right? It's just appropriate, which is really lovely. You mentioned, I want to bring up two things that you mentioned. One is art, but I'll get to that in a moment. You talked about having children later. I noticed that is a trend in Italy for women. Either they're having, one child, two, or no children at all. Why is that? Is it because women want to work, they're enjoying their career? Because as you know, Italian families used to be much larger. Why is that?
We cannot explain that. Sometimes people blame the government that doesn't help families to take care of the children while women go to work. Or maybe just because we are getting more selfish than in the past. We cannot give an explanation, but this is a problem actually. And we love our family so much. Our parents and our children, we love them, and we sacrifice everything for them. But then when it's time to start a family, people want to have a career. I don't know. I think it's more women to blame, not men, because men would love to start a family maybe earlier. But the point is also that we got married very late also.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand, because I waited to have children as well, right? Because I had a career and I wanted to continue that, to grow that. And then, but I thought, oh my goodness, I want to have children. So, it's a real situation that women are sometimes put in. But I think, the freedom of working in Italy was really felt so good for women. They felt empowered. They really did. So they held off. Many women have held off. They're not having big families. We're not having big families here either, because it's hard to manage. We don't live in a village where everybody helps everybody. Parents live far away. So I think it's probably the same here as it is there. People want to have their career, right?
Absolutely. I think it's the same reason. Yes. I wanted to tell you also about culture, because I found that in my little survey, when I asked what comes to your mind when someone mentioned New Italy, young women would say fashion. Most people would say food, as we said before, but maybe there was a nice group of people who mentioned art. And so I realized something which I always gave for granted, that Italy is surrounded by art. We were born
Magnificent.
in Rome. We give for granted all the ruins we have in Rome, but it's unique. And we live with the traffic next to the Colosseo. We should, okay. So art, and I wanted to explain in a very simple way the key feature of our Italian art, which comes back to the ancient art from the ancient Romans, but especially the Renaissance. Even Steve Jobs was a great lover of Renaissance. Always mentioned the Renaissance in his speeches. So in the book, I wrote also a study guide on Italian art. So on Renaissance, who are the major artists of that period? Renaissance was in 1500, 600. Michelangelo, Raffaello, Donatello, and of course Leonardo da Vinci. What pieces of art they made, and where to find them, of course. And then there was the Baroque. Palermo, many cities of Italy are full of masterpieces, both in architecture and in paintings, Baroque. And then I wanted to tell the world more about opera music. Do you like opera? Deborah?
You know, that's a wonderful question. When I was a little girl, I would say to my mother, my parents loved opera. Oh my goodness, it was playing in the house. I'd say, "Why are you listening to people going, whoa?" I never understood it until I got older. And then as I got older, I would feel the passion of what they were singing and I would understand the story. Yes, I love opera, but it took time for me to get there. You know, I had to understand it and I think it's magnificent. Honestly, I think it's people, if they go to Italy, they must find an opera to go to, whether it's an outdoor amphitheater, whether it's indoors. It's so special. It really is. So my answer to you is yes, I love opera.
You love opera. So if you love opera, you will find the study guide on opera too, listing all the major Italian opera composers. Giuseppe Verdi, Giacomo Puccini, Rossini, Donizetti, what each of them wrote, Aida, La Traviata, and for each opera, for each piece of, for example, Aida, a small summary of the opera, of the plot, and also a QR code taking you to the main aria of that opera. So in 2 pages, you will know everything about opera without wasting time in searching and on everything. Sometimes when you want to do more information, you find too much information. That is the problem. Now we are overloaded of information. The study guides help you on these. So if you like opera, you will find everything you need to know there.
You know, for people traveling to Italy for the first time, obviously it's so important to visit Rome, to visit Florence, and if you're able to branch out from there, go to the north in Milano, go to the south, perhaps Naples, Pompeii, Sicily, Puglia, which is of course a totally different area. We just got back from there as well. We loved it. Because each region is so different. But for people who have been many times, where would you suggest traveling to that is less crowded, that is very authentic, but where you won't find lots and lots of people? What would you recommend?
Well, again, what I would tell you what we do, because when someone from abroad comes to Italy, I would strongly recommend to get any travel guide and visit the classical places to visit in Italy. That is granted, of course. But what do as Italian do during the weekend? So if you have a weekend, where do we go? Or if we have our small, for example, Easter holiday, where do we go? So again, it depends on the season and on how much time you have. So I explain where the Italian lady, an Italian woman, weekends, where does she go? If she lives in the north, she will go to some lakes, but depending on the season, in the north, it's a strategic position. So in 2-hour drives, you can go either to the beach and have a swim at the seaside, or you can go to the mountain to have to ski. So depending on the season, I will tell you where to go.
Yes.
If you have a larger time frame, I would say to you, for example, a place where not very many foreigners go, if it's summer, to rent a boat and go in Sicily, sailing in the Aeolian Islands, which are amazing. And you will see the Stromboli Island with a volcano, still active, a volcano. Or going to Sicily, of course, you will going to visit Palermo. But climbing the Etna, which is a volcano very active, is spectacular. So I would strongly recommend it. Or if it is autumn, for example, you cannot miss to go in Piedmont in the truffle season and have a tour there in this area where you can taste the truffles, and also you can taste the wines, the red wines, the important red wines, Barolo, Barbaresco, they are all there. and visiting some wineries. There are some wineries that are spectacular. They are artistic designs. They must be seen, as well as you can see some classical monuments typical of Italy. So I would tell you where to go. I would, if it's winter, if it is autumn, you must go to Piedmont to visit that area. If it's summer, there are other places. There are typical, as you said, Puglia is an emerging area. It's getting very exclusive, very, very cool, very in, and it's beautiful. So so far, the classic routes of tourists don't include Puglia, but it's a place. Or in Sicily, another emerging area is Noto, near Ragusa.
Noto, yeah.
It's
absolutely stunning. You know, you touch on so much. You touch on art, fashion, as you said, furniture. We didn't really get into that. But before I let you go, because we're actually running out of time, there's so much to say. This book is so comprehensive. What would you like to tell our audience? I know that there's a special quote that we read earlier, right? By, I think, one of your favorites, by Elton John. Would you want to read that for us?
Okay, it's Elton John. And he says, I love places that have an incredible history. I love the Italian way of life. I love the food. I love the people. I love the attitude of Italian. So this is the essence of my book. This is what I wanted to tell the world about Italy. Let people clearly understand and show people how we are in all these kind of the topics, let's say so. So if you love Italy and if you have the same opinion as Elton John, I'm sure you will enjoy this book. And another thing is that I would love to make the people very welcome in Italy. And I give you another example. I'm planning to go to Istanbul in October because it's a beautiful city in Turkey. And of course, I will visit the typical places, the mosque, whatever we have to visit from a touristic point of view in Istanbul. But now what I'm working on is to contacting local people, friends who are there, to visit them, to have dinner with them, to spend an afternoon with them, to ask them to take me where they go shopping, where they go having fun, because the only way to really understand the essence of a country is being with a local person living there. So I cannot welcome any foreigner and taking them around Italy, but with my book.
But you do it with your book. Yeah, absolutely magnificent. Go ahead, please.
This is my goal. This is what I loved, because I love talking to foreigners, to exchange experience, to exchange way of living, and I'm very curious about other culture, and I want to share. I want to share. That is the goal of my book.
Well, it's also very different. It's not a book that's a guide. It's not a book only about food. It's a book that includes everything from your point of view as an Italian lady, and it incorporates all that's important in the Italian culture and how to experience the Italian culture through someone who is Italian, in fact, and who's really traveled throughout Italy and understands. I also love that where this interview is being conducted, you're close to the Carrara marble mines. That's one of my absolute favorite little spots. Not so little, but favorite spots in Italy. I think it's beautiful, and you can drive there. It's so fun to rent a car and just drive on little streets and see where it takes you. And my husband and I did that once, and we just were driving around and we found a cute little restaurant and behind the gas station. And sometimes you'll find the most magnificent little finds if you're just curious, right? And you just allow yourself to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. But and if you have someone local taking you around, it would be better. But if you
Yes.
don't have it, maybe a book written by a normal person from a normal Italian person maybe can be helpful. Hope so.
Yeah, I found this to be wonderful. And I'm going over to Venice for the Venice Film Festival because I'm going to be on a panel there, and I'm going to bring your book because I know there will be many Americans there, but also many Italians there and people from other cultures. And I'm going to talk about this book because I think it's a really lovely and refined way of enjoying Italy from someone's perspective who understands it well. So I'm very grateful to you for having joined us. I really am.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much, Deborah. It was a great pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. So people, you can find Alessandra's book, what I imagine, on Amazon. How about your website too?
Yeah, so on the website as well, yes.
And are you available if people ever want to call you and just get advice and tips? Would they find you on social media?
Of course, on Instagram, on the book, there is my email address, but you can find everything on the website or on Instagram, of course. They're not under my name, but under the title of the book, The Italian Lady.
Yeah, it's absolutely lovely. I'm so pleased that we got the opportunity to talk to you. And there's much more in the book that we really don't have time to cover in an interview, but I think you get the idea. I think people will get the idea. Lifestyle, as you talked about, art and travel. We talked about family a little bit, right? And the changing dynamic of family. I mean, you cover everything. Oh, also another one, how the Italian lady throws a dinner party. I love that chapter. That was very interesting to me. So what I'm saying to my guests is there's just so much that you can learn by picking up this book. So please do that. Go ahead.
If you love Italy, it's just, as we said, it's for Italy lover. Everybody who loves Italy will find the book helpful. And you're going to Venice? Maybe we can meet. Maybe I will come to Venice too. Because
I will text you and I'll let you know where I'm going to be. It's a little, I've never covered the Venice Film Festival before, and I'm told it's going to be a lot of people, and I have to learn how to navigate the ferry and how to get here and there. So I'm actually looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not there too long, but I think this will be a lot of fun to cover this. So absolutely, I'll reach out to you because I don't think you'll be too far away. So that would be fun. Thank you for bringing that up.
Maybe I will come for a couple of days and let's see. Because Venice is one of the places to go, where the Italian women usually go to Venice, either for the film festival or for the Biennale of art, of contemporary art, which is another big event. And the Italian, especially the cool one, they must go in this time in Venice. And let's see. I hope to meet you there.
Yes, absolutely. I will contact you. Of course, not here, but later. I'll text for you. So thank you, and thank you so much for joining our interview. And everybody, you can find our discussion with Alessandra Repini, who wrote The Italian Lady, on YouTube, on Facebook, and then we post promotions, like promos, about our interview on Instagram. But it's also an audio podcast as well. You can find us on Spotify and iHeart Radio, on Amazon, on Apple Podcasts. So just put in our name, the Little Italy Podcast, and also Deborah Cobelt Live, and you'll find our interview with Alessandra. So thank you, everybody, very much for joining us. Please tell your friends about the book, The Italian Lady, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.